Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Dana. I'm 28 years old. I'm a certified personal trainer and I've been on a fitness journey for 5 years. So working out, wellness, fitness, that is like kind of my niche. That is what I'm all about. It is my passion. And so a lot of my videos, if you are new here, are about that and about growing in my fitness journey and wellness and all that good stuff and everything that comes in between with life, balancing a job, having a social life, things like that. So if you're new, that's kind of what it is all about over here. I also got engaged in November to the love of my life, Danny. So if you're coming from TikTok or Instagram, you may have seen some videos about us over there as well. Because we are planning a wedding. Obviously, we are getting married in June of next year. So June of 2026. And today I wanted to talk about something that I've been asked so many times since leaving my job. I used to be a coach, an assistant manager, a social media manager. I wore a lot of hats over at ORANGETHEORY Fitness and I worked there for 3 years. So when I left kind of abruptly in December, a lot of you guys were like, what happened? We need the tea. Tell us everything. I'm going to be so for real with you guys right now. Leaving ORANGETHEORY was very, very hard for me, and the way that I left, we'll get into it, but I really thought that I had left on good terms. I gave myself grace. It was just a lot. Fulfilled my 2 weeks. I gave a notice with enough time and I just had a better opportunity in the long run, and thank goodness I am where I am now. And again, we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. But after leaving, things kind of went AWOL. I don't even know if that's the right word. Things just kind of got crazy and it really left a bad taste in my mouth, so I was very bitter about it. And I had taken to a TikTok video to like mention something, which was probably not the smartest idea, and I think I ruffled a lot of feathers and people were like, I need the tea now, and I'm like, there's really not like anything crazy that happened. It's just that I don't think I was really ready to talk about it because I of course have a reaction, right? We all react to things and have those strong emotions, and I didn't want my reaction to be tied to my experience, if that makes sense. I didn't want to come on here and start bashing what happened at ORANGETHEORY and then deter any of you guys who have looked up to me for the last 3 years to be like, well, what the heck? Like, I thought you loved ORANGETHEORY. And so I really felt like the best way to like address this and to talk about it was to do a sit down video right here on YouTube so you guys can just like hear the whole story. So if you are new, again, I feel like I've said that like 4 times in this video, but just to kind of catch you guys up to speed, I started in ORANGETHEORY in January of 2022. Prior to that, I had been nannying. I had nannied for a family in my hometown right during like when COVID hit, and I was living with my parents, and then I had moved and I was still with this nanny family, and then those kids, which actually are going to come into play here at the end as well, because I still see them all the time, and I love that family. They're part of my family honestly now. And so I was nannying that family during COVID and like the year after. From then they grew up, obviously, like kids go to school. So by the time my youngest was going into school, I was kind of out of a job. So I had moved. Well, that's not really true. I guess we had mutually, it ended up working out because I was moving about 45 minutes away from where I was nannying. And so I was like, hey, like this might not be the best idea, like to just stay here because it's a longer commute. And she was like, they're going to school anyway. It worked out perfectly. Great. No hard feelings. Like I said, we're still super close. So fast forward, I moved to this place 45 minutes away, right? I find a new family to nanny for. It works out perfectly, except I'm not working like the hours that I feel like I should be working. I'm having a really hard time making rent. They were an incredible family. They actually are our family that's in the NFL. So it was really cool. They are seriously the sweetest people ever. And again, no hard feelings, but I was offered a job by somebody who was actually a follower at the time. So I had been posting my fitness journey and my running a mile every single day challenge. And if you guys are OGs, you know that. That's kind of how I gained a following on TikTok, by just documenting like running a mile every single day. And I was just trying everything to lose fat. And then it's just funny because we ended up being a personal trainer, which is insane. But a follower had recognized me while I was out with some of my friends, and she was like, hey, like I didn't even know you lived in Ohio. Like this is so cool. Can we like be friends, meet up? Can we exchange numbers? I'm like, absolutely. So she reaches out to me and she's like, listen, I'm a manager at an ORANGETHEORY near you, and I feel like you'd be perfect for this social media position. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get to run social media. I'm going to be in a fitness space. Like this is going to propel me to like new levels, which isn't false. It really did. And I just want to again preface before I get into this, this is my own experience with ORANGETHEORY Fitness, right? This is my own location. Like all of these experiences I have are very specific to my location. So I'm not trying to like bash in anything that I say here. I'm not trying to bash ORANGETHEORY Fitness as a corporation. Like I just want to like expand on my experience, right? So I'm like, this is going to be insane. So I go to my new nanny family. I've been working with them for like, I don't know. Actually, it worked out perfect because they're in the NFL and I'm in Ohio. So they go back like to the West for off season, right? So I was like kind of out of a job anyways, and I wasn't really making the money that I wanted to because they didn't need me like full time like my other nanny family did. So anyways, I'm like, perfect. This is perfect timing. Again, they're moving away. I needed a new job and this came to fruition. So I start my job at OrangeTheory. Okay, so we're at January. I feel like I'm that TikTok where I'm like,
37, who the fuck did I marry? So at this point in time, I have filed for divorce.
I start in January of 2022. By April, I had been promoted from like a desk person, a sales associate is what they call the people that sit at the desks, to assistant manager. And at the time I'm like, whoa, like this is so cool. Like, no way I got a promotion in 4 months. And it sounds horrible because if you're going through something like this right now, like it is a big deal, it is. And I was very proud of myself because obviously I had made an impact to the point where like I was doing social media so well that they were like, hey, let's move you to assistant manager, which I then found out like wasn't even really a real position. And my manager at the time didn't even really tell me like that I was doing that. They just kind of like announced it in the meeting and I was like, okay, great. Oh my God, this is so cool. So I like told my family, I'm so excited, whatever. In the meantime, like, so I had actually become, like I had been growing so much on TikTok that I was like, I want to be an online personal trainer. So before I had even accepted the job at OrangeTheory, I had started my certification to become a personal trainer in November. So that was like, what, 3 months prior to getting this job. So now it's April and you only have with NASM, you only have 6 months to take your test. So we're coming up on 6 months. Okay, I had to take my test in May. So I'm like, wait, this is like perfect because now I'm running social media. They know I can be like assistant manager and like now like let's just become a coach. Like this will be so fun. So May rolls around, I take my test, I pass, it's incredible. I'm so excited. And truly, like I've renewed it since then. Like I plan to always hold my personal training certification because fitness means so much to me. So I get my certification in May. I have a conversation with my higher up management, so the owner of my OrangeTheory. And I'm like, I really want to become a coach. And she basically tells me that I don't have it in me. You know, people are meaner than I think they're going to be. Just because I worked at the desk doesn't mean I have a relationship with these people. Doesn't mean that they aren't going to be hard on me and leave me bad reviews as a coach. I don't have it in me to be successful enough as an assistant manager and run social media and be a coach. And looking back, that's true. That's a lot of responsibility. But I was so just like, I've always had such a hard head and I've always just been like somebody who kind of like fights back and rebuts and just like watch me. So I was like, I'm gonna do it anyway. So they allowed me to become a coach, which I'm so grateful for. I think truly deep down, like looking back and all the messages and like the conversations that I had with this higher up management, they did not want me to become a coach. But I think everybody that was like present at the studio, because if you guys are new to like OrangeTheory at all, you may know this. A lot of studios work like this where the people that own it like are not at the gym. Like they live like far away, or maybe they live there but they're really not like hands-on. Like they're not working there with you. Like they just own it and they basically, you know, they oversee management, so the studio manager. So anyways, these people that own the studio are never there. So I'm kind of like, how do you know my like strengths and weaknesses? Like I know that I can do this. I know I have it in me. Like I know that this is what I want. So fast forward, I become a coach, everything's great. I then step away from the desk because I'm like, yeah, this is a lot. But I like the coaching way more than sitting at the desk. And sitting at the desk, you guys, is actually not, like, being a sales associate is kind of a lot. I'm sorry, I'm jumping around so much, but being a sales associate, you are doing check-in, which is essentially just assigning people to their stations, but it's 30 minutes every hour. So, I mean, it's a lot of mingling. You have to be on. Like, you have to be talking to people all the time. You have to make at least 40 to 50, like, cold calls a day, trying to get people in to take their first class. If people are coming in for your first class, that's a whole like script, and introduce them to everything. You have to talk about the science of OrangeTheory, and then you have to sell them too. Like you have to walk them into their class. The coach does their whole thing, introducing them to the workout, which honestly is such a great thing by OrangeTheory. I've never been to another workout class where they've done that, and I think that's really cool that they like introduce you to it. They show you all the machines. They tell you a little bit about like what you're going to be doing today, and it just makes you feel a little more comfortable. But you have to do all of that. So it's a job, and I'm not complaining that there was like a lot to do. I'm just saying when you hear like, oh, I worked at a desk at OrangeTheory, you're probably thinking like, okay, you just answer the phones every once in a while and like read a book while class is going on. Like there's a lot to be had as a sales associate. Anyways, jumping back. So I was like, I don't really want to do both. Like I make way more money as a coach and I would rather just coach. So they gave me the midday classes, which is completely normal for a first timer and someone who's starting off like on your coaching journey. So you're coaching, I was coaching from like 8:30 to like 12:30 usually every day. So that's about 4 hours. You are only paid by how many people show up to your class. The base, I think, is like maybe $20 to $25 an hour. So at minimum, you're making like $23. I don't remember what it was, at least at my studio. And I think you could make up to, if you had a 3G, which my studio would never have a 3G in the middle of the day. That's when capacity comes up to like 36 people rather than 24. Gs really only happen on the weekends, and I wasn't working the weekends. So I really only had like the capacity to make up to like maybe 50 an hour if my class was full. Now 50 an hour sounds incredible, but you have to remember I'm only working like 20 hours a week. I was making, let's just take the average of like $30 an hour, okay? On a good week, I was maybe taking home $400 like every Friday. That's not even $2,000 a month. You cannot survive off that. At least I couldn't. Paying a rent, living alone, like there was no way I could do it. I was sobbing. I couldn't make rent. I'd be driving home to my hometown to like borrow money from my dad. Like it was insane. Like I was like, I can't live like this. So I get a new job. I go into, and if you've been here for a while, you probably remember this era. For about a year and a month or so, I worked as a alcohol rep. So I worked for like Bacardi, Patron, Grey Goose. I would sell liquor into restaurants and bars and all that good stuff. It was fun. It was a very fun job, and I made really good money, but I couldn't let go of Orange Theory. The best way that I can ever describe Orange Theory is a toxic relationship. I've been in a few of those, okay? It is a relationship that you want to break off so bad, and you know is so bad for you, and it's a stressor, and it's just causing you more harm than good, and it's toxic, and you want so bad to let go, but you can't. Like, truly, that is the best way that I can describe it. And I feel like I just couldn't let it go. So I stayed as a coach, as an opener. So I worked like 2 days a week from the 5 a.m. class to the 7:30 class. So I was at work from 4:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. and then I would be at the office or whatever account I needed to be at to do my sales job from like 9:30 till like 5. Okay, those are some really long days. Right? Those are 12-hour days. Now I only did that, like, I only opened, I think 2 to 3 times a week at the time, but it became a lot, and I really lost myself because I was in sales. So if you guys don't really know, like, a sales position, you're like in the car all day, at least for the liquor sales I was driving from account to account, like bar to bar, restaurant to restaurant, and I was eating out. I was eating at the bars. So this is like, it's not great food. I didn't have time to work out because I was working 12-hour days. So I kind of lost myself, and I had then become, I guess I kind of lost my timeline here, you guys, but this is now April of 2024 we're at now, right? Because I worked at Orange Theory for about a year and a half or so before I got the alcohol job, and then we're a whole other year now to April of last year, so 2024. I start working out consistently with Shelby, and you guys probably know Shelby from any of my Orange Theory posts. She was my manager, okay? So remember, I'm just a coach at this point because I'm coaching and I'm at my sales job, and Shelby is the manager, and we're like, hey, let's start going to the gym together, like we're both losing ourselves. So we start going to this gym. I document more. This is where I started posting a lot of the videos where I was mic'd up and I was in that private gym, and life was good, and I was like, wait, I want to do this. I'm also online coaching at this time. So there was a point where I had 3 jobs and it was just way too much. So I'm like, I'm quitting my liquor sales job. Like, this is not for me. You know, I'm like losing myself in this job. I don't have time to work out. I'm around alcohol a lot. I was like not required to drink at meetings, but it was like encouraged to drink at some of my meetings. And I was like, I can't like balance it all. So I was like, I don't like this lifestyle. It's not for me. I quit my liquor sales job. Okay. Go back to Orange Theory full time. It was just such a great idea at the time. It was like, why not? Let's just live here. Like, I was like obsessed with like, okay, let's just make Orange Theory like my life. And I feel like I portrayed that a lot on the internet too. Like, I really did live there. And it's all fine and dandy except for the fact that you don't make any money. So, and you're also like under so much stress, and people are kind of treating you like dirt. I need to look at my notes because I feel like I've gone so off topic here. I went back to Orange Theory full time in April of 2024, so it's about a year ago. I actually think almost to the date. From April to December of last year, working at Orange Theory full time, I would say about 80% of that time was hell. And I understand that might be like really hard to kind of hear as a listener and someone who's followed me for so long, because I acted so well that I loved it and that it was my life, because I had to try to convince myself that it was, like, in order to just like keep going, because there were days I would sob on the way there. And looking back, it's like, yeah, I could have just literally up and left, but that's just not me. I take pride in who I am as a person and my work ethic, and I made a commitment to myself, to Danny at this point. Like, I am now, like, Danny and I I knew that an engagement was coming up. I knew I had to fulfill, like, I had to have a job. Like, I can't just up and just not show up. Like, I will get fired, and these last 3 years, like, will mean nothing because I won't be able to put it on her resume. Like, I know I'm better than that, so I just kept showing up. And Shelby is one of my best friends, right? So, like, I can't just, like, leave her as a manager. What the heck is she supposed to do? So we like created this joke about it, but like, truly, we are friends off of a trauma bond, I believe. And we were treated really poorly by, like, very few, but some of the members. There are days I'd walk out crying. There are days I'd show up crying. There are days that I didn't get to eat. Like, literally, like, it was just such a poor time on my mental health, I think. The people I worked with were great. It truly just came down to upper management. I'll just leave it at that. Again, I'm making, like, I guess I can talk about this now. I don't know why I wouldn't be able to, but I had to fight and fight and fight to get to $16 an hour as an assistant manager. And coaching, again, on average, let's say, like, I made, I don't know, $30 a class. So there are days that I'd coach in the morning, so from 4:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m., and then I would have to close as a manager. So I'd get off coaching at 8:30, I'd work out if I had it in me, I'd go home, I'd take like a quick nap, I'd pack a lunch, and I'd go back from 12:30 to 8. And those were my days. Not every day, but a lot of days, that's what it was. On the days I didn't close, I had to pick up another job. Remember that nanny family I told you guys about? That's like my family back in my hometown. Yeah, so I would drive about 35 minutes after an opening shift, so about 4:30 to 12:30 p.m. like 4:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. I would get off and I would nanny from 1 to 5-ish, 5 or 6. So I was working 12-hour days no matter what. It's just a matter of, was I at Orange Theory or was I working my double and nannying? I guess I shouldn't say nannying because they're kids now. So I was like basically like helping out around the house and getting them off the bus and folding laundry and things like that. But again, they're like my family, so it doesn't bother me, and I'm honestly so grateful that they allowed me, like, when I called them up and was like, can I please just do work for you? Like, I am not making enough money at Orange Theory. Like, that family has also just pushed me and been like, you have to leave. Like, Danny's like, you have to leave. Me and Shelby at each other, who are both in this like trauma bond that hate our lives here, we're like, how do we get out of this situation? Like, truly, God, it was just like crazy. Okay, so basically just getting to the end of this now, because I guess this wasn't as structured as I wanted it to be, but honestly, maybe I just needed to dump. It's just kind of like my experience, right? My experience at Orange Theory, but why I left. So if you've been waiting this whole time, you're like, bitch, why? Like, what led you to leave? Ultimately, it was because of finances and stress, if you couldn't tell already. Because I was having a lot of trouble living paycheck to paycheck, and I just had, I mean, my mental health was just declining. Their huge, like, issue was I have a college degree, and I understand that I chose to have this job, and I knew going in that, like, it was an hourly job, but I just couldn't survive on, like, no PTO, no sick time, no time and a half. Like, that's just, yeah, I just, no. Like, I can't work for a corporation or a person who doesn't believe in taking care of the people who are running their business. And I feel like I was spoken to very poorly. I feel like, yeah, I don't know. And there was no future for me there, right? So, like, I couldn't really climb. The next step would be management, which I was kind of already in anyways. And then from there would be owning a studio, which I did not want any part of. So there was nowhere for me to grow. And if you guys know me, like, I want a huge family. Like, I wanted nothing more than to be a mom and to have a big family and kids to take care of. And I, like, am craving that, like, work, like, that flexible lifestyle. And this is just, like, not that. This is very demanding. And I just couldn't see myself, like, in 10 years at, like, age 36, 37, being like on my feet all day like I was, and then have kids at home, and then have to, like, I barely had the energy and the time for, like, that job, let alone to get off that job and then take care of kids at home. Like, I knew that just wasn't going to be my lifestyle. So I was like, I'm not growing anymore in this position. Like, what can I do? So, and then I knew I also obviously need a stable income, and I need to start building a savings. Like, I'm 28 years old and I don't have a savings. Okay, that's for another video. Ultimately, what's really cool is I met a friend at ORANGETHEORY whose husband started a company in the real estate realm. And she was like, hey, my husband's looking for like someone to help with transaction coordinating. I'm like, I have no idea what that word means. I don't know anything about real estate, but sure. I, at this point, will do anything to get out of this situation. So I interviewed with him, absolutely loved the company. I'm like, this is really cool. Like, this is something completely different, but I'm ready to just like expand and see what's out there. You know, I've been in fitness for like 3.5 years at this point, and I've tried, you know, other sales and things like that, but like, I want to see. So that is where I'm at now. I am in the real estate realm and I'm absolutely loving it. We are kind of in the business of like wholesaling and fixing and flipping. But I have learned so much since I started in January, and I am just loving my life. It's very flexible. They are incredible teachers. Like, I feel like I was just telling one of my partners like the other day, like, I truly feel like I've always had a very entrepreneurial spirit, and being surrounded with people that are my age, I think they're like a year older than me, and started this business and are thriving and are growing, and I'm getting to like watch and grow with them and learn from them. Like, this is the environment that I needed to be in. And what I will say truly is, like, from this experience that I have learned, like, the best thing that I have learned is that God will put you in very tough situations, and he will put you in places that you are like, what am I doing here, right? But he will always take you to the next level. Like, those uncomfortable spots are what are going to bring you into the next and the best, like, years or career or financially or family wise, like, whatever it is that you're going through, like, there is a plan and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I have chatted far too long. My battery is literally about to die, but I guess I'll leave you with that, honestly. And I hope that answers your guys' question. And I guess the only other thing that I really feel like I need to say is, if you are in a situation that is taxing on your mental health, make a plan and get out. And I love you. But truly, if you're in an uncomfortable space right now, it probably means you're just about to propel to the next level. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here and for being on this journey with me as I figure it all out in my 20s. I'll see you guys in my next video. I love you.